Welcome! In today's video, we are going to talk about 5 different cruise itineraries that are bucket list destinations that so many of us cruisers want to go to. So we're going to break down my 5 top destinations, dive into what those destinations are, what kind of itineraries they are, everything in between, and we'll dive right in with number 1. Now, these destinations are my top 5 bucket list that I want to see and do in my cruising future. Love to hear your thoughts on all of these destinations. We're gonna dive into where they are, what type of itineraries they have, and everything in between. So they're in no particular order, but I can't wait to share my list with you. Our first bucket list destination has glaciers, whales, dog sleds. It is America's unspoiled frontier. Of course, I'm talking about Alaska. I am prioritizing Alaska for the same reason that many of us are: the wildlife. Whales, black bears, brown bears, sea otters, and seals, those snow-capped peaks. It just absolutely sounds like it takes my breath away before I am even there. Because of Alaska's region and short cruise season, it is some of the highest cruises pricing in the industry. Another difficulty to traveling to Alaska is the airfare. If your cruise is a one-way cruise and it either starts in Alaska or ends in Alaska, airfare from Anchorage is particularly more expensive because of how far up the Gulf of Alaska it is. The Alaska cruise season lasts from May till September, and Alaskan cruises are generally 7 to 12 days long with a sweet spot of 10 days. That's a nice itinerary. You can find the most affordable cruise deals for Alaska either off-peak or right at the end and beginning of the cruise season. In May or September, you'll find the best deals. It is really interesting that nearly half of all Alaskan cruisers extend their cruise vacation after they get off the ship to explore so much that Alaska has to offer, which really makes sense because if you go all the way there, you want to explore everything that it has to offer. From Denali National Park, the Yukon Gold Rush Territory, and the Canadian Rockies, among others. And if you didn't know, Alaska can experience long daylight hours in the summer. Particularly in June, they can have up to 23 hours of sunlight. Alaska sounds unbelievable and a very high prioritized on my list of my bucket list cruises. But let's move right on to our next bucket list destination, which is Australia and New Zealand. We are going down under for Australia for the Great Barrier Reef. I don't know if you scuba dive, but scuba diving at the Great Barrier Reef is a for sure bucket list item. I have to actually get certified first, but I've been scuba diving a couple times, and my goodness, this is a scuba diver's dream come true. I have to get down there and check this out. Now, if Australia and New Zealand sound like the ideal cruise vacation, itineraries are generally from December to April. I would also recommend, if you're open to some longer cruises, this might be ideal for you because you can find a lot of 13 to 23 night cruises. So if you don't like longer cruises, this might be the type of itinerary that you want to stay away from. Now, a reason that this itinerary would stay on people's bucket list longer than everyone would like to is the fact that it's rather difficult to get to. Because when you fly from North America to Australia or New Zealand, you actually fly across the international date line, which means you lose a day. Furthermore, the flights to Australia and New Zealand will take an entire day. They are very long flights, and if you want to make sure that you make the ship and get on your cruise, it's advised that you leave at least 2 days prior. So we're adding up that time off you need from work, and on the safe side, some even recommend that you leave up to 4 days prior. Well, if you're gonna go all that way, you might as well make it a nice trip and enjoy a long time there and really adjust to the time difference. For now, Australia and New Zealand are still on my bucket list destination. Hopefully I will get to check those off soon, but we'll move right along to our next stop, which is the Panama Canal. The Panama Canal is the massive engineering marvel that connects the Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific Ocean. Cruise the Caribbean and Mexican River area. This is for sure a big bucket list cruise on many people's list. If you're unfamiliar with the Panama Canal, it is 6 locks that raise and lower the ship as you go through each of the locks. When you're raised and lowered, you can go as high as sea level and up to 85 feet. And sometimes when you're moving through, there's just inches to spare on each side of the ship to the canal. Construction on the Panama Canal began in 1904, and it took 10 years to build, and a mere $387 million later. Now, if you're into the history and you want to really appreciate the Panama Canal, I would definitely suggest booking a tour historian for the canal. So as you're going through, they can point out different details of the canal and explain what you're looking at and really signify the importance of the canal as you're going through it. Now, the Panama Canal season lasts from September to April. These sailings are about 15 days, and often the sailings are from Los Angeles or Florida. Panama Canal cruises are generally from 10 nights to 15 nights and usually sail in between Los Angeles and Florida, in between the two. And if you're going through the locks, it's about 15 nights for a Panama Canal cruise. There are also some sailings that if you're interested in just seeing the Panama Canal, there are cruises that don't actually go through the locks, but will take you around there as well. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can look into that as well. Our next bucket list itinerary is a transatlantic. Now, there is westbound and eastbound transatlantic depending on which way you are crossing, but most transatlantic cruises are actually repositioning cruises, meaning that you can find good deals if you're on the lookout for them, because the ship is repositioning from the season of being, say, in the Caribbean and then moving to Southampton in the UK and having their sailing for a couple months in those areas as well. So if you catch the ship while it's repositioning from region to region, this usually happens about twice a year. Now, it's been said that transatlantics can actually be some of the best cruise deals out there on the market that you can find because of this repositioning, and a lot of travelers are actually adverse to the idea because of having to end your cruise in one place, a different place from where you started, causing you to buy some international flights, and that can be rather pricey, along with the cruise being particularly long, ranging from 6 nights to 16 nights. If you're looking to sail from Florida or the Caribbean to Europe, those itineraries are generally sailing in the spring, and then again, the reverse in the fall. Something special to look forward to is that a lot of transatlantic cruises also have a lot of themed nights. Our very last destination for our bucket list cruise destination is Bermuda. Now, I had to put a little bit of thought into why I would choose Bermuda. Now, there are some other destinations that I would want to sail to again, but this is somewhere that I've never been before, so I am prioritizing this on my bucket list. Did you know that Bermuda is not even actually part of the Caribbean? It is actually about 1,000 miles from the Caribbean and 570 miles from Port Hatteras in North Carolina. Now, most Bermuda cruises are about 7 days. Now, some cruises will actually visit one Bermuda port, or some will actually visit up to 3 Bermuda cruise ports. Most Bermuda cruises actually leave from a departure city of Boston or New York City. Bermuda is high on many people's bucket lists because of those crystal blue waters and pink sandy beaches. It also becomes a little bit of a forbidden fruit because the Bermudan government actually controls the amount of tourism and cruise ships that are allowed to go each season. You might actually find, even on Bermuda cruises, that they're really trying to keep crowds to a minimum, so they'll actually even cap the cruise line's amount of triple and quad occupancy in one cabin, so you wouldn't be able to have 3 or 4 people in a stateroom on some Bermuda sailings. So with those type of restrictions in mind, Bermuda is a beautiful destination that I hope to get to soon, with it being that forbidden fruit that it is. Maybe I'll just have to look into a around the world cruise where I'll knock off some of these items on my bucket list and then some more. MSC actually started an around the world cruise that is 100 nights to 200 nights, and it is a considerably long amount of time when you think about it. But just think of all of the different cruise destinations that we can knock off our bucket list and even more. All of my bucket list destinations truly sound incredible to me, and I hope to check them off my list very soon. Are any of these destinations on your cruise bucket list as well? I love to hear what itinerary is most important to you, what sounds fun. Let me know if you have ever been on any of these itineraries and what you did and how it was. I can't wait to hear your experiences and share them with me in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a big thumbs up if you haven't already and subscribe for more. Thanks so much for watching. Ciao for now.